All right, welcome to the October 2020 blog. We are Galexis and we welcome you, and we wish to share with you today a message. First of all, we want to point out how significant this timing is. We've talked about it ever since the fall of 2017, that we're in this period, in this window of extreme and extraordinary change. This is a time of absolute chaos in so many areas, in so many different ways, because it is a part of the evolution on this planet that you as spiritual beings chose as part of your exploration into physical form and into your own personal spiritual paths of evolution, chose to be here for. This is the big event. Now, it wasn't 2012, it was 2018. Opened the door, opened the window, you might say, to a greater perspective, allowing the downloads of your destiny, the downloads of your spiritual heritage for you, your own evolution, those downloads of remembrances of who you are, those downloads from your divine team, from your spiritual guides. This has been going on hugely, and it's changing you. You are not the same person you were only 6 months ago. You're going through profound change, and your world, the human culture, is as well, because this is not just this one span of time, but it is the time of actualization and activation of the beginning of the early stages of the initiation of the Aquarian age. Yes, you shifted into the Aquarian age back in the 1980s and 90s, but you didn't come to the place to where you could create the Aquarian vision, the true future, global, holistic vision for not just you, but for everyone. It took coming to this point in order for you to be able to access this and to take action. And a lot of this action is being taken politically. And now we're not talking just, Republicans and Democrats and governments and things like that. But you live as a political animal yourself. Your politics of your day is your relationships with other people, and where you stand with other people and where they stand with you. There is politics in every organization. There's politics in your family. There's politics everywhere. It's been about for, who knows how long, who is dominant and who is subdominant, who must follow whose prescription for behavior, success, etc., and who gets to call the shots and who doesn't. This is what we would say is the patriarchal format that came in several thousand years ago. Prior to that, there was an era in which the feminine was more significant. It was a low-tech era. It was more having to do with earth. It had more to do with human communities and surviving and supporting each other and forming strong tribal community networks. Right? That was in the era of the feminine. You could call it the matriarchy. A woman was the divine. the goddess, the woman who created, the creator being female. If you notice, the one who carries the baby and has the baby, that's the creator in the old tradition. But there came a time where men took over, the warrior philosopher took over and established the military hierarchy, and then established value hierarchies, and created the patriarchy. Now, the patriarchy, when you use the term archy, this archy, it means something over the top. It's the arch, okay? It's something that's shining whatever's going on. It's from above. And so patriarchy got established by associating it that this was God's law, and God being pretty much a male, and that this gave the power to the men, and the men were then were able to wage war and become dominant and do politics like, well, we tell you what to do. There was a tremendous division that was required for this, and the division was between the value and the mattering of men and the alpha males, the males at the top, and everybody else. And essentially, women were excluded from the hierarchy. Women were excluded from value, and it was only, within the past couple of thousand years that women were not more or less seen as possessions of the men, right? Now, you know all of these, but the patriarchy survives still today, even though it is no longer of any use in a world that is evolving, a world that is becoming more conscious. The patriarchy is no longer needed. In fact, it is actually an obstacle to the Aquarian vision. And the way the patriarchy shows up for the most part in politics today, cultural politics, governmental politics, people politics, even in family politics, is that those people who have the money at the top, they call it the golden rule, those who have the gold make the rules, the archy at the top, the oligarchy, okay, the people of extreme wealth that can pretty much manipulate the government, the cabals, the monopolies, the billionaires at the top of the corporate ladder. These people have found their way to be at the top of all the pecking order. They have made it. They have made it. And they like to stay there. So even though the system does not work for the majority of the people on the planet, let's say for the 99%, okay, its system doesn't really work that well. You find that this whole idea of whoever is the wealthiest, the most powerful, and so on, can control everything and dominate everything, and protects themselves from all the people beneath them that might usurp their power. Okay, they're very sensitive about letting anybody else have power. And you ask for power from people who have power, they're not going to be too inclined to give it to you. Generally, you have to demand it. Generally, you have to do something about it to really get your power from these people who hog it all. They hog the power. They hog the money. The money goes from the bottom to the top, okay, of the culture. So when they see themselves threatened by the Aquarian Age dream, the Aquarian Age dream is that everyone has value. Everyone has a right to exist. Everyone has a right to a good life. Okay, this is actually threatening to them. It is threatening to their domination. It's threatening to their control. They're fearful of it, so they try to strong-arm whoever it is that is resisting. And you've seen this in the Black Lives Matter protest. You've seen this in when women marched for the vote. That was so threatening to me. That it finally came through is pretty amazing. But what is happening now is of huge import, because the Aquarian vision is of everyone being one in one community, but everyone remaining an individual. This just scares the oligarchy. This scares the archy up at the top. But this is time not to have any more archy. This is time to let go of the dominators at the top of the social and political ladder, because they don't care about the earth. They don't care about other people. All they care about is themselves. It's a very selfish place. And they see that they give money away. They want to make sure they get tax deductions from it. They want to make sure that people admire them for it. So they might do some for ego purposes. Only recently are there people who are willing to put their big money where their mouth is. But there's just as many who are fighting to let it go. So what does this have to do with you? You as a spiritual being chose to be here during this time of chaos. Okay? The system that the uber rich have is over. This does not work. It hasn't worked for quite a while. You're here to establish, to create at least, to create a new way, to create an Aquarian path, to create an Aquarian society, an egalitarian society. One, very significantly, in which women and men are equals. And with the recent death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who basically fought all her life to achieve equal rights for women against the fear and the panic and the resistance and the domination and control techniques of the man in power, you're seeing that this has been a struggle going on for quite a while. But what's happening here is that when you choose the Aquarian vision, you're choosing the dream future. Now, you may know about the three futures. There's the nightmare future, where you go into chaos and disruption and destruction and separation, which is more of what you've experienced in the very worst of these past few years. And it goes down, 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 down into destruction. Then there is a future that's kind of like you just work at staying where you are, just hoping everything just kind of stays where it is. That's kind of a mediocre future. It's not grand, it's not terrifying, but boy, is it boring. Okay, and then you have another future. You have another future, which is the dream future, the Aquarian age vision. This future is an egalitarian future with safety, love, freedom, empowerment as core principles of its existence. This is a future in which everyone can be themselves, where women don't always have to do it harder and try harder and be more successful just to kind of stay even with men. Where men can be relaxed and they don't have to be pressured and demanded upon to be the superheroes that their man code training has pushed them to become. So, what this is going to entail is for you to identify your dark, toxic, masculine energy, You see it out in the environment. You see that the masculine domination and rule has become so toxic. You see it with mostly with men who in their status can abuse other people, who are callous and cruel, the psychopaths. Humans are generally a very altruistic, giving, loving community kind of people. But the psychopaths have separated and divided everyone. So you want to heal the hierarchy of patriarchy and oligarchy energy, the philosophy of that, the narrative of that. You've got to heal it inside yourself. And what this means for women is that women, you've got to stand up for yourself. You've got to stand up for the feminine. You cannot let men diminish you, discount you, shame you, or push you into lesser lives, to force you into servitude, free service while they make the money. You can't let them do this anymore. You must stand up. Now, not fight, but you must stand up, hold respect for yourself, and heal that shame and loss of self-esteem that has occurred over being battered by the corrupt and toxic masculine energy. And men, you've got to clear for yourself the toxic masculine out of there and acknowledging the feminine within you. Everyone has both masculine and feminine. You've got to stand up for women. And that is even when you're around other men who are talking sexual, nasty stuff about women. Don't participate. Don't, just locker room talk. Don't go there. Stand up for women. Stand up for value of them. And this also goes with racism. This goes with any kind of group that's on the quote-unquote low end of the culture. Poor people, immigrants, people who don't have resources, people who have other religions. Stand up for everyone. First, hold that resonance within you. Hold that resonance of self-respect, self-empowerment. Choose to be free, to be yourself. Choose it. Be yourself. Act as yourself, not as someone who's trying really hard not to aggravate and upset other people. Let yourself be free. Empower yourself to make choices for yourself. Respect and honor the earth, all the plants, the animals, and nature. Respect nature. You belong to nature. Do not choose between nature and industry or nature and technology. Always work with nature, honor nature, support nature. This stands up for the feminine, and it also stands up for the people, for the egalitarian society. Stand up because the feminine energy is coming back, not to take over the masculine, but to co-create in divine order with the masculine and feminine, both the non-toxic, the healthy, the light form of the masculine and the feminine. Now, if you are perhaps perplexed as, okay, well, what are you referring to as a toxic masculine energy, or the dark masculine, or the toxic feminine and the light feminine? What is all of that? We would encourage you to go to a website, greaterselfprocess.com, and under there you will see articles, and in the articles you will see from dark to light. They're all the keywords of the of the dark and light masculine, dark and light feminine. These are provided for you so that you can imagine and you can dream this healing of this basic schism that's been around for centuries, enabling the toxic masculine to do so much damage to other people, to the planet, and to the culture. Okay, so the goddess, the feminine divine, needs to be incorporated as well. Now, the goddess is not some beauty queen. That's a toxic feminine perspective. From the light feminine, the goddess is the one who cares, who brings the feeling, the caring, the support, the nurturing, the strength of standing up, though, for everyone. Everyone's lives matter. Women's lives matter. Black lives matter. Now, when the right wing says, oh, everybody's lives matter and blue lives matter, they're basically wanting to continue the masculine domination rule. No, let's not let those black people and those women and those people, all those people of color and those poor people, no, we don't want them to have the power that we enjoy. When you stand up for all those other people, you stand up for the light future. If you do not do this, you could potentially be swept up into fear and terrorism, into suffering, into darkness, into the nightmare future. Don't go there. You'll see the nightmare, but just don't go there. Keep dreaming the future. Keep standing up for the feminine within you and in your world. Because when you do this, you are helping this change of ages. You are participating in the Aquarian dream. You have come here for this. This is your chance. You will find incredible balance and harmony and wholeness within yourself, and then you can share that and envision that for your world. And your vision matters. You matter. Whatever you do can make a difference. Thank you, dear one.